Welcome back. We missed you so much. I'm so glad you stayed with us. You could have gone to work already, but you stayed. Okay, rather be late and listen to us because you're going to need to hear this because South Africa edges ever closer to an amazing summer season. We love it, even though it's already, October. But we are getting some warmer days, even though it's still chilled today. So I think staying hydrated and avoiding heat stroke becomes a priority, especially if you want to be proactive with giving you exactly what you need. So heat-related risks, they impact everyone. In fact, sometimes you don't even know that it's impacting you. You go out on a lovely beach day and you're like, why am I so tired this morning? What's going on? And I think this is vitally important, not only for you, but I'm talking children, the elderly. So we have the best people to chat about health issues. How about a pediatrician?
Oh, I like this.
Okay, we got a pediatrician. We brought in Dr. Anissa Varhead, who's here, as well as a lifeguard.
Ooh.
I mean, how life-saving is somebody like that? Literally a lifesaver. Mark Keeling is here. And also just like a record-breaking, but one of the best lifesavers. Basically, South Africa's Hasselhoff is here. And we're going to chat about heat stroke and heat exhaustion, as well as some practical advice around just making sure that you are safe in the sun and near water.
I think that's absolutely vitally important. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to personally give you a little round of applause.
Yes.
Thank you for waking up so early and joining us, because this is a conversation that I feel not many people have, you know. We want to enjoy the sun, but let's talk about the bad effects of the sun if we have a little bit too much of it and we don't protect ourselves as well. So, Doc, can we get into heat stroke in particular? Can you break down what exactly this is and why it's a cause for concern?
So when we're looking at the summer and the sun, we're looking at heat-related illnesses. So you've got heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and that's when the body it's not able to actually cope with high blood pressure or high temperatures or hypothermia.
Yes.
Okay. So you get the first step of heat exhaustion, which is similar to starting like dehydration. But then you start getting symptoms of muscle fatigue, you start getting a bit dizzy, a bit of headache, you just feel a bit off, you can get some muscle cramps. But if we don't go and treat that straight away, you can actually go and evolve into developing heat stroke, which is a life-threatening condition. And that's when your body temperature goes more than 40 degrees and it starts shutting down. And symptoms like that can be, you can start becoming very delirious, confused, you can lose consciousness, and ultimately you can actually die from it if you don't treat it.
Oh my goodness. Is this like a once-off thing? Like I go to the beach today and I can get heat stroke now? Or is it over time?
So it can develop over time. The big thing is that it's going to be, if you've already been predisposed to it, if you're not taking care of yourself, especially with kids and the elderly people, it can actually happen immediately. So you might not have had the previous episodes, but it can happen straight away. We don't know. There's no predictors of actually saying it's going to happen when it happens.
Oh dear. No, right, because there's always that
So
sort
scary.
of it's scary because there's always that lull after a day out, after a beach day, and it's important that we actually touch on this as well. I'm going to jump over to a lifeguard perspective now, because I think it's good to know when, if I have somebody that's alongside me on the beach, I also need to know what to recognize in them so I can call you over as a lifeguard. So what are some of those practical signs that you look for and that you feel that other beachgoers and water users should look for in their fellow water users to help them along, to identify when something's going to be a problem?
Yeah, so I think one of the key things is you can see immediately is if you have a bad sunburn. I mean, that's quite obvious. If someone's going red, you've all seen it. We've all seen it in each other.
Yes.
It's quite a stark sign. It's probably the easiest one to see.
Yeah.
You mentioned headaches, dizziness. That's also, you can see that quite easily if people are stumbling around. We sometimes have problem with alcoholics every now and then, so we tend to think that way rather. But once you can tell, obviously, if you can smell the alcohol or not, then you start to assume things like that. So those are the pretty obvious signs. The others, like you say, only will come later, so we won't really see those on the beach, unfortunately. That's when you have to take care of yourself and maybe let your family look after you, and that's important for them to then go and see those signs. So at the later stages, unfortunately, we won't be able to help because we won't be there, unfortunately, unless we've obviously picked it up early from the sunburn and things like that, and then we can treat you from there.
Yeah.
Now I wonder, what is that fine line between seeing a doc and having your family take care of you? Is there a moment where it's like, nope, it's critical?
Yeah.
So your family's the best person to actually know you. So the thing is that, I mean, for children, the mother's the best one to say something's up, right? So if you're seeing someone and they've always been well and all of a sudden they're starting to sweat profusely and they just look like they're breathing a bit fast and they're looking a bit off, that's already a flag for the family to say, listen, call the lifeguards, let's actually, is there something up? Or do we actually need to actually just go and say, just drink a bit of extra fluids and walk it off? So I think this is where the family is going to be a good factor for us to say, listen, something's actually not right with them. Maybe they didn't drink too much. Maybe they actually, there's something else more worse.
Right. Ooh, this is such an important
it's
conversation.
This is why we have two parts to this for you. Don't worry about it. But Mark, just back to you for a second. I mean, going to the beach is premeditated, which means we should be able to prepare for them properly. So are there any just quick things that you, ideally as a lifeguard, would like to see more people using the beach actually do before spending some long periods of time on the beach and in the sun?
I mean, definitely things like sunblock, umbrellas, just a bottle of water. I mean, you can be there for a long day. Some people come for 10 minutes, some people come for a couple of hours.
Yes.
On the really nice day, people will come for those couple of hours. Simple things, bottle of water. Even if you forget, the shops are generally close by. All of our beaches aren't remote. They have shops close by. A little bit of money to buy these things.
Yes.
You go to the popular beaches, you can rent an umbrella for the day. It's quite easy. So just simple things like that, and you can really enjoy your day at the beach and not hate it later in the day when you're sunburnt, when you can't sit, when you're dehydrated. So just the simple things to really enjoy your day and keep enjoying it throughout the day.
Can I just throw in a quick question?
No, please.
Because I'm really curious about this. I know we have a part 2, but they usually say that there is a time that you shouldn't be in the sun. Is this the truth?
It's true. So we always advise to avoid the sun when it's at its highest. So especially around lunchtime time. So between 12 and 2.
Okay.
That's your highest time of when you're going to actually sunburn and be actually exposed to the highest amount of heat for the day.
Okay. Mental notes. Got it. 12 to 2. Don't do it. I'll try not to.
That's great. All right, as we said, we have a part 2, which is very important. So hopefully, if you have any questions as well, please send them through 063 408 8863. We'll be happy to ask the experts on your behalf. But, you know, we're ready for a fantastic summer, of course, but we're also ready for a beautiful month in October as well, which is always beautiful.
It is. October is actually Hope-tober, in case you missed it. It's the month of hope. And we celebrate exactly that, not just for South Africa, but for our lives and for the lives that we touch, right? And as we honor this month, let's take a moment to recognize and also appreciate the incredible work that our pharmacists do every single day.
Now, today we want to pay tribute to Lifestyle Pharmacy that is in Hartbeespoort, and of course, proudly brought to you by Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave. Let's take a look.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. We are having a conversation. Yes, it's getting hot in here, but we are well hydrated, and that's what you should be. We're continuing our discussion on heat stroke and dehydration with a good doctor, our pediatrician, Dr. Nisa Vahid is here, as well as Mark Keeling. And this time, we'll be exploring essential hydration guidelines and effective first aid measures to keep ourselves safe during the upcoming summer days. The experts are here. Big question, because a lot of these health diaries, they tell us the average person should have 7 to 8 glasses of water per day. Shwa, shwa, shwa. All right, now I want to know the truth about staying hydrated. The shwa, shwa is actually a real word. Check it in the dictionary. So what is the reality of the way humans absorb water? I think that's very important. Hydration-wise, how much water should we be having per day?
So if we're looking at hydration, it's water and electrolytes.
There we go.
I think the big thing is everyone's concentrating on the water.
Yes.
Yes, the ballpark figure is 6 to 8 cups a day,
Okay.
but that's just a guesstimate. It's because everyone's different. So men probably drink much more than us women, and kids will probably have a bit more less. But the big thing is that if we know that we're going to be increasing our daily activities, we're going out into the sun, we're going to be exercising, that 6 to 8 cups will go up. Or 6 to 8 cups is like 2 liters.
Okay.
So that's when we'll need to be going a bit more up on what our water or our electrolyte intake should be going.
Some people look at electrolytes and they're like, oh, that's the stuff that comes in that sachets.
Yes.
Like, what are actually electrolytes at the foundation of them?
So we're looking at sodiums, potassiums, chloride and glucose. Those are 4. So everyone generally concentrates on our sodium and our glucose because that's what's going to help to keep that water in your body and not actually have it being passed out.
All right. Well, this is good. That's preventative, but sometimes you forget about hydration because you just love a good run in the sun. And then a lifeguard will come to you and say, hey, I'll be there and I'll be ready. Like Mark. So if this happens and you're noticing something that somebody is in a bit of distress, what are some of the things that I can do as a fellow beachgoer to just help them along if I sense that someone's feeling very, very lethargic and is sunburnt? What should I be doing? I'm not going to cover them with an umbrella or a towel, am I? What's the steps?
Well, so if there are lifeguards close by, that's your best call. Obviously, they trained to treat this. If
Yes.
there's nobody around, there's some basic steps you can take.
Okay.
Excuse me. You can give them a little bit of water. If they're in the early stages of it, they're not really severely dehydrated.
Okay.
The problem really comes in if they're severely dehydrated or severely sunburnt. You can get to a place where the stomach actually starts to reject things. So if you try and give someone who's severely dehydrated cold water and a lot of it, they could actually just vomit it up and a whole bunch of other stuff because their body's kind of gone into this really bad state.
Okay.
So you got to make a judgment call there and decide what's the best course of action. But if they're in the early state, the first thing is definitely pull them out of the sun. If they're in the sun, shade, maybe not necessarily cover them directly, just obviously take
Yes.
a little bit of note there of the situation. But if they're in the early state, a little bit of water, slowly at a time, you can get to a stage where, like I say, if they're in a really bad state, you even just want to take a little bit of lukewarm water and dab it on their lips. That's how severe it can get. That's kind of the only water you can give them at some stages because it's so bad. Yeah, they
goodness.
can't even get some in their mouth. Then slowly you can start introducing
Okay.
by like almost a capful into their mouth, then slowly a cup, and slowly get them rehydrated like that, just with water, and then introduce electrolytes
Okay.
later.
So that's a lifeguard's approach. And now, let's just say there's a doctor, and I have a doctor that's alongside me on one of the beach towels along the way. And I'm like, is somebody a doctor? Then what is your first go-to? Let's just say we are beyond the beach. And let's just say we got our person at home, sitting down in a chair. They can see they're a bit dizzy, disoriented perhaps. What are some of the steps you can take on that level before calling a doctor, I suppose?
So what we'll do is we'll get them to lie down flat, try and lift their legs up a bit more so we can try and make sure that we've got blood flow going through to their head and to their heart. Okay.
Okay.
If we feel that they're actually feeling very hot, especially if we've got thinking heat stroke and we've got temperatures of more than 40, we need to cool that body down.
Okay.
So that's when we start fanning them down with some cool mist. So you can actually just have a spray bottle and just fan them like that. Taking cool face cloths or towels
Yes.
and actually just tepid sponging them down. You can even take ice packs and put them down by their neck, armpits and the groin. And that'll help to just try and cool them down from that perspective.
Wow.
And just by doing that might help to just calm the body down a bit to try and kind of actually start doing what it's supposed to do.
That is brilliant. First aid steps, that's what we're talking about, and that's what we need here today. Just as a wrap-up, let's just say some of the practical stuff that we've covered over these, two pieces of our conversation. So what I can hear from you now is that we're going to try avoid the sun at its highest, so from about 12 o'clock till 2, let's just say 11:30
Yes.
till 2:30 to be safe. That's fine to say. As you were saying, Mark, we do need a bottle of water along with us no matter what,
Yeah.
just to make sure we are staying hydrated. That's another thing over there.
Some shade.
And some shade. So another thing is that don't throw shade. Just be in shade, which is very important too. Anything else that we can add over there as well?
I think sunblock is always
Definitely.
a very big important thing. And I think with that water is always actually start anticipating that you're probably going to get dehydrated. So it's not just taking one glass and I'm fine for the day.
Okay.
It's continuously making sure. And an easier way is also making sure you're actually eating high water content foods, so like watermelon, strawberry. So it's not just fluid, it's the
Yes.
food as well that could help.
And always swim between the flags, eh?
Always.
Exactly.
Okay, I know that because you're a lifeguard. That's what lifeguards say to you, swim between the flags, eh? Because we can do this. Thank you so much, eh? I love it. When a doctor and a lifeguard walks into your Feel Good Breakfast show, you're always going to get what you need, especially ahead of the hot summer season. Stay hydrated, stay safe. Don't forget the electrolytes and enjoy what is going to be a great summer. And we'll be here to equip you with all the facts and hints and tips that you need right here on your Feel Good Breakfast show.